Hi, hello, good morning everyone. In our previous classes, we have discussed topics on what are the different types of materials, how are they classified, then the currents like conduction current and convection currents in material spaces. Later, we shifted to a topic called conductors. There, we discussed how the conductors acts with different environments like dielectrics and in conductors. All those aspects we have discussed in our previous classes. Now, in this class, we are going to have a discussion on polarization in dielectrics. Polarization in dielectrics. I am Dr. Kasigari Prasad, Associate Professor, Graphologist, Writer and Motivational Speaker from Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, Annamacharya Institute of Technology and Sciences, Rajampet Autonomous Institution, Kadapa District, Andhra Pradesh. Before we start, let us start the talk with some inspiring points on engineering. Let's know your engineering. Engineering is not a science. Science studies particular events to find general laws, whereas engineering design makes use of laws to solve particular problems. In this, it is more closely related to art or craft. Simply to say, all engineers are artisans. They are craftsmen. They are civilization personalities who are going to create civilization in the society. Such a great personality is an engineer, and we should feel proud and happy to be an engineer. So, from our previous discussions, we understood how the conductors behave. So, the main difference between a conductor and dielectric lies in the availability of free electrons in the atomic outermost shells to conduct current. So, how many free electrons are available in the outermost shell? Based on that factor, we defined what is the concept of conductors. Although the charges in dielectric are not able to move freely, they are bound by some finite forces. In a dielectric, the charges are not able to move very freely. They are bound by some finite forces. This is the important point to be noticed in dielectric. It is assumed that certain displacement of charges will take place in dielectrics. So these charges will try to displace from one point to another point when an external force is applied. This is the condition. So when an external force is applied, certain displacement of charges will take place in dielectrics. To understand this macroscopic effect of electric field on a dielectric, see, in order to understand and analyze the macroscopic effect of electric field on dielectrics, let us consider an atom of dielectric as consisting of negative charge as an electron cloud and the positive charge plus Q as nucleus. So we are having two important things. One is at the center we are having nucleus, positive charge. Around that nucleus we are having negative charge as a cloud, negative charge as an electron cloud. So as shown in this diagram, in this sixth slide, see, there are two figures, figure A and figure B. In figure A, at center we have positive charge plus, around which all negative charges are deposited. So here the electric field E is equal to 0. Now when external electric field is applied, these charges plus and negative charges will move. That means the electric field is going to be produced in the direction of applied electric field. That is noticed in the figure. So coming to the figure B, that positive charges and negative charges are there. Positive charge at the center is nucleus and negative charges around that nucleus are electron cloud. When some external force is applied, the positive and negative charges as pairs, we call it as dipoles. So minus q and plus q separated by a small distance called a minimum dipole. So those are going to be created, and that is noticed in figure B. Okay, from the figure it is assumed that nuclei in molecules as point charges and electronic structure around that molecule as a single cloud of negative charge. Here, since we have equal amounts of positive and negative charge, the whole atoms or molecules is electrically neutral. Since they have equal amounts of positive and negative charges, the whole atom or molecule is electrically neutral. So now, when an electrical field is applied, the positive charge is displaced from its equilibrium position in the direction of E electric field by the force. So that positive force we have taken as F plus is equal to charge Q and electric field produced E. Whereas for the negative charges, all those negative charges is displaced in the opposite direction by some force, that is negative force. F minus is equal to Q into capital E. Okay. Now, a dipole is resulted from the displacement of the charges, and dielectric is said to be polarized. See, one negative charge moving in opposite direction, positive charge moving in another direction, both of these two is creating a dipole which is a result from the displacement of these charges, and the dielectric is now said to be polarized. In the polarized state, the electron cloud is distorted by the applied electric field. So now the electron cloud is completely distorted and disturbed by application of some electric field. So this distorted charge distribution is equivalent by the principle of superposition to the original distribution plus a dipole whose moment is. As we just discussed that minus q and plus q, both of these two is going to create one dipole, and the dipole moment is now taken as P is equal to total charge q separated by a distance d. Therefore, P is equal to qd. This is dipole moment, where d is the distance vector from minus q to plus q of the dipole, and that is already shown in our diagram. This is here in the second diagram, minus q plus q, and they are separated by a distance d. That is what we have shown, we have explained here as P is equal to qd. Now, if there are n number of such dipoles, just we have taken only 1 minus q and plus q as a dipole, but there are n number of dipoles in a volume of a dielectric, then the total dipole moment due to the electric field is, due to the application of electric field is q1 d1 plus q2 d2 plus and so on up to qn dn. We have written it as a summation k is equal to 1 to capital N qk dk. This is the total dipole moment due to the electric field of n dipoles in a volume of the dielectric. Okay. Then after conclusion of this, we are here to analyze what is the intensity of that polarization. So in order to analyze the intensity of a polarization and to measure it, and to measure the intensity of that polarization, we need to define a new parameter called polarization capital P. So polarization capital P in coulombs per meter square as is defined as the dipole moment per unit volume of the dielectric. So dipole moment per unit volume of the dielectric, that is P is equal to limit delta V tends to 0 in that particular volume, summation k is equal to 1 to capital N qk dk. So we have qk dk number of dipole moments in a particular volume, no, therefore del V divided by delta V. So the polarization P is equal to limit delta V tends to 0, summation k is equal to 1 to capital N qk dk divided by delta V is the polarization equation as per the definition. Now, thus we can now conclude there are two types of things. One is non-polar dielectric, next one is polar dielectric. Let us now discuss about non-polar dielectric. Now, thus we can conclude that major effect of the electric field capital E on a dielectric is. So, what is the major effect of the electric field on a dielectric is the first concept we are going to notice. So when an external electric field is applied on a dielectric, it is going to the creation of dipole moments that align themselves in a direction of electric field. It means some dipole moments are going to be created which are aligned themselves in the direction of applied electric field. So this type of a dielectric or such type of a dielectric is called non-polar dielectric. Examples are dielectrics, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen and rare gases. So non-polar dielectric molecules do not possess dipoles until the application of electric field. If there is no application of electric field, then there will be no non-polar dielectric molecules. Let us now discuss about polar dielectrics. The other types of molecules such as water, sulfur, dioxide and hydrochloric acid have built-in permanent dipoles. They have built-in permanent dipoles that are randomly oriented as shown in the figure. See, minus Q2 plus Q separated by a distance d, that is figure A. This is polarization of a polar molecule, permanent dipole, E is equal to 0. Whereas for second figure, Q minus Q2 plus Q separated by a distance d in the application of electric field. This is alignment of permanent dipole. When an electric field capital E is applied to a polar molecule, the permanent dipole experiences some torque tending to align its dipole moments parallel to the applied electric field. So when an external electric field is applied for a polar molecule, then those permanent dipoles which are existing in that polar molecule will experience a torque tending to align its dipole moments parallel in the direction of applied electric field. So now let us calculate the field due to polarized dielectric. So up to now we have defined what is polarization and what are the two different types of materials like polar dielectric and non-polar dielectric. Now let us calculate that polarization. Now let us calculate the field due to polarized dielectric. For that, let us consider a material as shown in the figure here, which is placed in a coordinate system, XYZ coordinate system. In the figure, it consisting of some dipoles with the dipole moment P per unit volume. So we have taken a volume. Let the volume is differential volume is dV dash, and we have taken an observatory point and field point. Field point is O of x comma y comma z, and observatory point x dash y dash z dash, having a unit distance separation between this dV dash and that field point is capital R in the unit vector AR, that is shown in the figure. Now from this diagram, it is considered that there we are having dipoles with dipole moment P. So there is a dipole which is having a dipole moment P. Now we know that dipole moment can also be given as, we have already defined potential, and with reference to that potential V is equal to P dot AR divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R square. This is the potential concept which we have discussed and derived in the first chapter. From there, with reference to that, we have taken V is equal to P dot AR divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R square. Now the potential dV at an exterior point O due to the dipole moment P dV is given as, see, this is our diagram. From this diagram, at this exterior point of O of x comma y comma z, we are going to calculate the potential here at this point with reference to this volume dV dash at a reference point x dash y dash z dash. Now with reference to these, we are now going to calculate the potential. So the potential dV at an exterior point O due to the dipole moment P dV dash is given as dV is equal to P dot AR into dV dash divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into R square. So the above equation is a reference equation, and you apply to that our concern, our diagram, that is dV we got. where r square is x minus x dash whole square plus y minus y dash whole square plus z minus z dash whole square, and r is the distance between volume element dv dash at x dash y dash z dash and field point O of x comma y comma z. This is what. Now with reference to this, the above dv equation now can be rewritten for clear understanding with physical interpretation as in terms of gradient of 1 over r, the two in terms of primed coordinates. Then we can write del dash of 1 over r is equal to ar by r square. Even this derivation is also performed in the first unit. That's why EMTL subject needs a lot of continuity from topic to topic and from chapter to chapter. It is a continuous linked topics. Therefore, in the very first unit we have derived del dash of 1 over r is equal to ar by r square. Now with reference to this, our previous equation, this is our previous equation, v is equal to p dot ar divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. From that we have written dv is equal to p dot ar dv dash by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. Here we are writing p dot ar by r square is equal to p dot ar by r square means we can write it, we can replace with the del dash of 1 over r. So del dash of 1 over r. So we just replace that equation with this. Okay. Then now applying some vector identity to the above equation. So first let's know what is that vector identity. The vector identity which we are having here is del dash fa is equal to f del dash dot a plus a dot del dash f. This is the vector identity we have derived. We have derived from the vector calculations. Now by applying this vector identity to our previous equation, what is our previous equation? P dot ar by r square is equal to del dash of, now we are applying for this one, this vector identity is applied. So del dash dot p by r minus del dash dot p by r. So you applied this one for this equation. For this equation you applied that vector identity and you got this equation. Now substituting this into the dv equation. What is our dv equation? This is our dv equation where dv is equal to p dot ar into dv dash by 4 pi epsilon naught into r square. For there if you apply, see dv is equal to p dot ar into dv dash by 4 pi epsilon naught r square, and then integrating it over the entire volume of v dash. So if you integrate we will get the total volume. Therefore total volume v is equal to integral v dash 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into all the term we have taken as del dash dot p by r minus 1 over r del dash dot p into dv dash. So you have taken the relation of that vector identity and substituted here. Now by applying divergence theorem to the first term of the above equation. So divergence theorem where we are going to get the relation between surface integral to that of the volume integral. So to the first term if you apply the divergence theorem, that v dash will now convert into surface integral. That is v is equal to integral s dash p dot an dash divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r into ds dash plus integral v dash minus del dash dot p divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r into dv dash, where a dash n is the outward unit normal to the surface ds dash of the dielectric. So normal vector. So that we have represented here in this equation by taking divergence theorem concept into our previous concept, that means our previous equation. Now with reference to this, we already know the relation between what is the surface charge and volume charge with respect to potential. Again we have taken these two equations from the first chapter only. So with reference to surface and volume charges, the potential V of r can be taken as 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught integral s rho s r dash ds dash divided by r minus r dash magnitude. Similarly for volume integral, V of r is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught integral V rho V of r dash dv dash divided by magnitude r minus r dash. Now with reference to these two equations, we are now going to understand that these two terms denote the potential due to surface and volume integral. That means volume charge distributions with their densities. So what is the surface charge density and volume charge density? Rho PS is equal to P dot AN is the surface charge distribution. Rho PV is equal to minus del dot P is the volume charge distribution. With reference to these, we can write these words in another equation format as capital V is equal to integral S dash P dot A dash N divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R into ds dash. This is surface integral plus, now we are writing the volume integral equation, V dash minus del dash P divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R into dV dash. Just our previous equation. So from the above equation we can understand that where polarization occurs, an equivalent volume charge density rho PV is formed throughout the dielectric, while an equivalent surface charge density rho PS is formed over the surface of the dielectric. See, in this equation, S dash it indicates the surface, V dash it indicates the volume. So volume charge density rho PV is formed throughout the dielectrics, while an equivalent surface charge density rho PS is formed over the surface of the dielectrics. Okay, so we refer to rho PS and rho PV as bound surface and volume charge densities respectively, as distinct from free surface and volume charge densities rho S and rho V. These rho PS and rho PV are bound or polarization surface and volume charge densities. Now then, what is this bound charge? Bound charges are those that are not free to move within the dielectric material. They are caused by the displacement that occurs on the molecular scale during polarization. Such type of charges which do form due to the displacement are called bound charges, whereas free charges are those that are capable of moving over macroscopic distances as electrons do in conductors. Okay, those are free charges. Now the total positive bound charge on the surface S bounded by the dielectric is given as, so what is the total amount of positive bound charge in a particular surface, and that is given as QB, total charge QB, bound charge, therefore QB is equal to closed integral P dot ds, that is equal to integral, that P means polarization here, and that polarization is caused due to this charge distribution, so rho PS into ds. Okay, while the charge that remains inside surface is minus QB, that is integral V rho PV into dV, that is equal to minus integral V del dot P dV. So the total charge of the dielectric material remains 0. The total charge of the dielectric material remains 0, that is the total charge value is equal to 0, therefore the equation is total charge is equal to closed integral S rho PS ds plus integral V rho PV dV. One is plus QB and next one is minus QB, that is plus QB minus QB, that is equal to 0. This is expected because the dielectric was electrically neutral before polarization. Electrically neutral. So now we consider a case in which dielectric region contains some free charges. If rho V is the free charge volume density, the total volume charge density rho T is given by, so total volume charge density rho T is given as rho T is equal to rho V plus rho PV, and that we can written as del dot epsilon naught E. So now what is the value of rho V? rho v is equal to del dot epsilon naught E minus rho PV. We will shift that one to the right side. Therefore, rho v is equal to del dot epsilon naught E, and that minus rho PV is nothing but the polarization value, total P. So all this is equal to epsilon naught E is D. D is equal to epsilon naught E. Therefore, we have written rho v is equal to del dot D. Whereas D here is epsilon naught E plus P. Epsilon naught E plus P. So from this we can conclude that the net effect of the dielectric on the electric field capital E is to increase D inside it by some amount of P. So the net effect of the dielectric on the electric field capital E is to increase electric flux density D inside it by an amount of P, polarization. In other words, due to the application of E to the dielectric material, the flux density is greater than it would be in free space. So, in other words, due to the application of electric field capital E to the dielectric material, the flux density is greater than it would be in free space. So, greater than free space, there will be maximum value. It should be noted that the definition of D in equation is D is equal to epsilon E for free space, and it is the special case of that in equation. D is equal to epsilon E plus P because P is equal to 0 in free space. So from this we can conclude, and we would expect that polarization P would vary directly as applied electric field E. So according to the application of electric field, the polarization is supposed to be changing, varying, fluctuating. So for some dielectrics, it is usually the case where P is equal to Xe epsilon naught E, where Xe is known as electric susceptibility of the material and is more or less a measure of how susceptible a given dielectric is to the electric fields. So that susceptible value or sensitivity value is taken as Xe. So from this concept, what we actually concluded is, we considered that there is polarization. In general words, to say polarization means orientation of electric field, or orientation or the direction of electric field can be considered as polarization. So that concept of polarization in dielectrics we are going to discuss here. So in analyzing that concept, the first and foremost thing what we did here is, we have taken one material, that to a dielectric material, and that to a dielectric material in which it has a molecule. At the center it has positive nucleus around which it has negative charge cloud, and for that some external electric field is applied. When this external electric field is applied, these charges inside that nucleus and molecule, nucleus and that electron cloud is going to be fluctuating and are going to create some dipole moment. That dipole moment P is equal to Q into D. So with reference to that change in the fluctuations of positive and negative charges, thereby disturbing the electrical neutrality of the charge, we are going to analyze the polarized state. So electron cloud is going to be distorted and electric field is going to be by the application of electric field, that we have taken. Now that applied electric field to a particular dielectric medium can be noticed in two ways. One is positive force and negative force. Both are equal in magnitude but are opposite. There we define momentum P, and dipole moments, there are many number of n number of dipole moments are there. Therefore we have taken dipole moment for total n number of charges. Then we define what is intensity of polarization. So once we define intensity of polarization, then as it is clear that in a dielectric material polarization existed here, and it will be in two types. Two types means the dielectric material behaves in two types. One is non-polar dielectric and next one is polar dielectric. Non-polar is a not a permanent dipole moment, whereas polar is a permanent dipole moment. Simple differentiation. Up to here we have just given an introduction of what is polarization and that materials. Later what we did is we have taken one volume, a small volume, and due to this volume at a field point O of x comma y comma z, some external electric field when it is applied, then how that dielectric material behaves, that we are going to analyze to calculate the field due to polarized dielectric material. To do so, we have taken reference of potential, and over that volume we have calculated what is, by applying the vector identity and divergence theorem, you have calculated what is the potential. Once you calculated the potential, in that concept you have introduced new things called what is the polarization charge. The two surface charge distribution, polarized surface charge distribution, polarized volume charge distribution. Those two things we have defined, and from those two types of charges we have classified. One is bound charge and free charges. With reference to this, total amount of charge in a polarized material is equal to 0. That is the conclusion. There we concluded that total charge is closed integral s rho ps ds plus integral v rho pv dv, that is minus q and plus q, that is equal to 0. So from here we concluded that polarization is a concept where that polarization is now dependent on the net effect of dielectric on the electric field capital E is to increase electric flux density D inside it by an amount of P. Then what is that P? Polarization value. That's how we concluded D is equal to epsilon naught into E plus P, and that P is nothing but susceptibility of that particular medium, and that susceptibility is a measure of how susceptible the dielectric material is. That's how we have defined the concept of polarization in a sequential order. Those slides appears to be bigger in number, but the concept is dead simple, where we are just analyzing the dielectric in terms of polarization. Thanking you. For more number of engineering classes, particularly on electromagnetic waves and transmission lines, I invite you all to subscribe Kasigari Prasad YouTube channel, our engineering classes channel. Through this channel I am inspiring, motivating and encouraging students towards engineering classes and inspiring concepts, personality development concepts and most enthusiastic concepts. We are going to discuss an absolute platform for self-learning and self-enrichment. I request everyone to kindly subscribe this channel. Thank you very much.